Good afternoon, I'm Tina Tyus-Shaw.
And I'm Ben Singer. Andrew Davis will join us in just a moment. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. First at 4, WSAV is your local election headquarters, and voters across Georgia have been casting ballots in the May primary.
Several key races are on the ballot today, and we want to take a look right now. Some high-profile races include governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, attorney general, and Georgia Supreme Court. We're also watching some big local races like State House District 165. Voters will decide on new leadership there following Representative Edna Jackson's retirement.
There is also the battle for Georgia's first congressional district, which is currently held by Representative Buddy Carter, who is running for U.S. Senate. The crowded field has 15 total candidates running to replace him in both parties.
And we want to start with some of the Democrats actually looking to fill that seat. First, it's Democratic candidate Amanda Hollowell.
And WSAV's Nakaya Harris joins us live from her watch party site in Midtown Savannah.
That's right. It may still be early, but this space behind me, the Sports Bar and Grill, will be filled with supporters as Hollowell waits to see if her months of campaigning will pay off at the polls. She tells me she's been campaigning for several months, talking directly to voters about what's motivating them in this election. And she says many are focused on what direction the country is headed in. Throughout the campaign, she has held community conversations across the district. She says those discussions have centered on what it will take to bring change in Washington. And she says step one is making your voice heard at the polls.
I hope the message that voters are sending today is that it's important for us to show up and turn out. They're already saying that we're 20% higher than we were in 2022 for that midterm. And so I just want us to continue the trend, and I hope more young people show up today to vote as well.
And she says she's hoping those conversations held across Southeast Georgia will translate into voter turnout today. Reporting in Savannah, Nakaya Harris, WSAV News 3 on your side.
Another Democrat looking to fill Carter's first district seat, former Army Lieutenant Colonel Joyce Marie Griggs. Griggs ran for this seat in 2022, but did not make it past runoff elections. However, today she did sit down with WSAV to talk about how things are different this time around, saying she has become more accessible to voters and had conversations with people who live and work in the district while focusing on key issues, including affordability and accessible health care.
Last time I ran was in 2022, okay? And it was an interesting race, to say the least, okay? Actually, I gained more support, especially in some of the rural areas. The people there, I made sure that I established a relationship. That's what I've been doing, establishing relationships throughout this district with people.
Now, Griggs will be holding a watch party later this evening. WSAV will be there. You can hear more on what Griggs has to say to those last-minute voters. That's coming up on News 3 at 5.
Several Republicans are also eyeing that spot in the 1st District. For Jim Kingston, his legacy is giving him momentum this election season. That's according to WSAV's political analyst, Dr. Kimberly Martin. Dr. Martin says Kingston's father, former District 1 Representative Jack Kingston, left a positive legacy for his son, making Jim recognizable to voters. The family name, his having endorsements along with President Trump's stamp of approval, Martin says gives him legitimacy by affiliation. His campaign has promoted him as being deeply rooted in Georgia values and for the next generation of conservative leadership. He tells WSAV his career in insurance and not politics makes him confident heading into the evening.
I've spent my career as a business insurance broker. I've never run for office before. I've been a lifelong conservative, lifelong Republican, and I believe that I'll be a different type of candidate. I think that as our state changes, we need to make sure that conservative principles and conservative candidates are leading that change. That's what I have been, and that's what I'll be as a member of Congress.
Also on the Republican ticket in that race, some of you may know him as Chatham County's 4th District Commissioner Pat Farrell says if he is elected to serve in Congress, his main goals are financial. He would want to reduce the cost of fuel, reduce cost of food and other living expenses, and give the district a more balanced budget. One other thing that he's looking toward is how his time serving as one of Chatham County's commissioners will help him if he's elected.
Understand how local, state, and federal government have to work together and there are lanes, but there's a lot of overlap, and I understand how that works, especially with funding, big projects like roads, bridges.
This is the most crowded race in our area with 15 total candidates. You can find details about all of them on our website.
Now to the bid for a Senate. There are a total of 6 major candidates in today's primary. The incumbent Democrat Jon Ossoff, who has served since 2021. Ossoff is the only Democrat running. He faces 5 GOP challengers. Buddy Carter, who is from our area, as well as Mike Collins from Jackson, Georgia. And John Cone, Derek Dooley, and Jonathan McCollum. WSAV's Sarah Smith keeping up with the Senate race, and she is joining us live now from Representative Mike Collins' watch party in Jackson with the details. Sarah?
Well, Representative Mike Collins of Georgia's 10th District has campaigned on being what he calls, quote, Georgia's conservative workhorse. But as you mentioned, he's going up against Kemp-endorsed Derek Dooley and Representative Buddy Carter and, of course, those other candidates. But Collins has been serving the 10th Congressional District since 2023. The 58-year-old has decades of experience as an entrepreneur with his trucking business here in Jackson. He's known for backing Trump's policies, supporting veterans and business owners, and creating the Laken-Riley Act. WSAV was there at a previous campaign stop where Collins outlined some of his accomplishments in Congress.
Delivered, not just for the people of Georgia, but for this entire country, especially with that Laken-Riley Act. It has made the country and the people of this state much safer. Right here, Savannah and Brunswick, the reason that those ports got the money that they did is because I chair the subcommittee, and I went down there to Brunswick and met with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Now, several polls show that this race could be close and head to a runoff in June. Now, we are outside Collins' watch party, and we're going to head inside probably around 6 o'clock and give you a little bit of a peek at what's going on in there. And we hope to get Mike Collins' reaction to the results tonight live on News 3 at 10 and 11. But for now, live in Jackson, I'm Sarah Smith, WSAV News 3 on your side.
Sarah, thank you. And if you still plan on voting yet today, you must vote at your designated polling place in your neighborhood, which will be open until 7 o'clock. If you are in line by 7, you are allowed to vote. In order to vote, you need to be registered, have a valid photo ID like a driver's license or a passport, and update your information if you have moved. If you go to a polling place and have not yet taken these steps, you can request a provisional ballot. Your vote will count as long as you fix the eligibility issue within 3 days after today.
The Savannah NAACP helping to make sure transportation is not a barrier to voting in today's primary election. Now, the organization is once again offering free rides to polling places for voters across Chatham County. Leaders say the goal is simple: make sure every eligible voter has a chance to make their voice heard.
Good morning, Andrea. This is Linda at NAACP.
The Savannah branch of the NAACP says it has been providing rides to the polls for decades now and plans to continue the effort through future elections, including November. Volunteers are transporting voters to precincts across the county, helping those who may not otherwise have a way to get to the polls. And voters can request a ride by simply calling the NAACP office during their business hours. The organization is also answering voter questions and helping residents locate polling places. The NAACP hopes the effort encourages more people to participate before polls close.
All us, we'll come and get you and take you to your poll, wait on you, and take you back home. There's no reason not to vote. We've been offering rides for years, and we continue every year to offer the rides to anyone in Chatham County.
Now, for more information on today's elections as well as November midterms and more information that would be helpful to you, simply go to our website, wsav.com/electionhq. For tonight, we will be giving you those results as the polls close at 7 o'clock. Remember, polls close at 7, so those numbers will start to trickle in, and we will have those numbers for you here on WSAV, also on our website, and at 10 and 11 tonight as well.
As Georgians head to the polls today for the primary, local NAACP leaders are urging residents not to sit this one out. The organization says recent court decisions and ongoing redistricting debates could have a direct impact on representation.
Community advocates say today's election is about making sure every voice is counted. Savannah NAACP leaders say this year's primary comes at a critical time, especially as concerns continue over redistricting and political representation in the state. The organization's leadership says elections at local and state levels help determine who will speak for Georgians in Atlanta and Washington. They say issues like health care, women's rights, and voting access are all connected to the choices voters make at the ballot box.
But with the redistricting fears, we hope that people will come out in groves to vote, because our life depends on it. Our lives depend on it. Our future depends on it.
And Carter says the organization believes representation starts at home and every vote plays a role in shaping the future.
Now, Time Saver Traffic, sponsored by Arrowhead Clinic, the accident doctors, where it pays to get well.
This Tuesday afternoon, we are checking out traffic along I-16 and Pooler at Pooler Parkway. At times, the off-ramp has been backing up onto the interstate, so this is on the westbound side, so definitely be careful heading through that area. Also, we are experiencing some delays along Highway 21 heading out of town at I-95, pretty typical for this time of the day, but 95 crossing over into the Low Country into Hardeeville looking pretty good this afternoon through the construction zone. No other major issues in the Low Country at this time, with those speeds pretty close to normal, but just taking a bit of extra time heading westbound toward Pooler, 15 minutes from downtown Savannah, and just about a half an hour to get down to Richmond Hill.